I cannot believe how easy this is.
OpenArt is literally the best platform for multimedia storytelling.
It's changing everything.
Look how intuitive this new UI is. It's incredibly fast.
It's the most creative platform I've ever used.
OpenArt really makes anything possible.
Check this out. OpenArt is seriously the best platform for storytelling.
The multimedia content creation tools are
incredible.
You really need to check this out. OpenArt is truly the best platform available today for creative storytelling. The wide variety of multimedia content creation tools they offer are absolutely incredible. It features an amazing, user-friendly interface that unifies your workflow, improves your overall productivity, and makes every single part of the process much easier than ever before. We're inside OpenArt. This is the new OpenArt home screen, and we can see the story, which they're still working on. Here we have the button to go to the previous version, and they're about to give it what's called an overhaul. The rest of the features are already up and running. Alright, so what do we have on the main page? Access to images, videos, and characters, which got an amazing upgrade in 2 ways. We'll check that out in a bit. And the audio section, which, just between us, reading through the upcoming updates, it looks like, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it seems like we're even going to have music here. Because for now we have voice cloning, which we'll check out later, text to video, image to video, motion synchronization, lip sync, image editing, which has changed, upscaling images, creating or editing them. All of this is included within this unified structure. And when we go into images, we'll notice something else too. You probably noticed that when I went in, what it did was load exactly what I was working on last. Now, I didn't ask the OpenArt team directly, but as a web software developer who's been involved in this is memory. This means that the page, based on us, saves the state of our work. And it has to do this because from now on, instead of having to keep multiple tabs open, we have a unified system. We have video, images, characters, and audio all in a single interface. And when we go into images, for example, we're working on creating an image, we're here. And if we move to characters and come back, we're still right here. This gives us an incredibly efficient workflow in terms of time. I know this because for all these months, the way I had to work, and I'll drag the window over to show you, was like this. Do you see all these tabs that are open here? They're all tabs in the old interface with different things I was working on, and to avoid losing the prompt, to avoid losing the work state of that part, because it would get lost, I had to open multiple tabs. Now that the workflow system is unified, I don't have to do that anymore. In fact, if I now go to the image variation button and work here and then move around again, I'll still have different things that, because of what I did before, will be linked to what I did earlier. It might seem trivial, but it's really not. In the natural workflow, my estimate is a bit rough because lately I've been a little off in tracking the exact times, but my calculation is that we can save almost an hour and a half of work per day by working this way. Maybe even more. I'm comparing this to my previous work. And again, it's a rough estimate. But there is a significant impact on performance. Now, each section has its own index, so we can access the different options available in each area. In video, we'll have image to video, text to video, edit a video, do motion synchronization, lip sync, upscale the resolution, replace a character, extend a video, add a sound effect. And if not, there's this one that's really great, which is restyling with, I don't know, any of the many style profiles, restyling a video. Style profiles, we'll take a closer look at them in other videos. But the number of style profiles you can play with is just incredible. For me, this is super useful for everything related to advertising and everything that has to do with the artistic side of music video production. It also has a place in cinematography. Of course, it can definitely have a place there. Now, maybe with other approaches that are already based on style, the aesthetic spirit of our product, designed ahead of time with a bit more manual retouching, that can end up having more long-term added value. But it's totally valid to just pick one of all the styles available in there. I don't want this video to be extremely long. What I want to show you is that when we go into any of these options, inside we can quickly move between different spaces. Yes, if we want to go to text or video, if we want to go to the opening or closing frame, if we want to add multiple takes with the model that can handle it and supports it, everything is integrated. And the buttons to add a new take, which we used to have to do manually, are now right here and are based on the video length we've chosen, let's say 5 seconds. In Clean, we can do it in the Omni, we can go up to 15. We can keep trimming the times until we reach 15 seconds. But it's amazing. Another important feature that was added to the workflow system, video, image, in any area, is tagging. That is, now we can do tagging. @ and whatever image we have here, that's the tagging system. It only comes into play when we're working on an image that's gonna be modified, or that has a modification context. That's why in frame or image to video, it won't be available. But if I switch to, for example, text to video, and go to an Omni model, meaning one that uses elements, I'm gonna choose an element from my pool from elements from my visual references, and you'll see that here I not only have the elements I've been creating inside OpenArt, but I can also upload elements, load an element from my computer, and it'll stay here for me to use. In fact, almost all the elements, there are many that I uploaded from outside, there are lots of images that I logged, and to know the difference between one and another, I go to the section, the subsection, that we have here, because here we have creations, uploads, and favorites. It's very easy to access and very easy to navigate. Now, I want to clarify something else about the previous workspace. The folder system hasn't migrated yet, but it's about to evolve. Just like a Pokemon. It's gonna evolve into a project system, and I'm super excited about being able to separate things by projects. If they add folders inside each separate project, that's it. This is heaven. I was pretty vocal in one of the meetings explaining this need, and if anything I said was actually taken into account, thank you, OpenArt team, because that's one of the things that keeps me with OpenArt. You don't just have ears for show, you actually listen. Thank you. See, they meet with us. The Discord community is awesome, so don't hesitate. Join the Discord community and stay tuned until the end of the video, because I'm going to share a way for you to get a discount when you create your account.
Get 20% off using the code below. An unbelievable deal.
Plus 50% off annual plans, but only until February 28th.
I've already got everything. I'm going to choose an element. Let's say I want to pick this element. It's going to add it differently than it did before. It's going to add it in a box context that's very similar to what Kling had. Alright, these visual references can mix images, characters, backgrounds, and so on. And how does that work? Well, we have a tab that doesn't say images, it says characters and worlds. Here we can see the list of every character we've created in Legacy, but also in the new system for creating elements or characters. And in this library, we have the characters, the objects, which I haven't created any yet, the environments, of which I've made one, and the styles, which I also haven't created yet. This interface goes back to its roots even more strongly with this idea. They're here to empower storytelling. Kudos to the project, kudos to the team that's making it happen. Well, here, notice that when I type an @ symbol, the list pops up and you see image 1, image 2, image 3, image 4. It's extremely consistent. We can add up to 7 elements. Be careful. Because what's really impressive about the system is that when we create a setting, when we create a character, that character can be built with 4 images. So this image by itself here is not the same as this character here. The visual context the model will have is much more robust. So just doing the math, 7 times 4, 7 elements, 7 objects, and by adding 7 objects, what you're doing is increasing the knowledge base, the data set that any video or image model you choose to work with will have. This makes our pre-production or production of images, of still images, much more organic, more robust, and simpler. And that also saves time. Thanks to this system, I ended up saving a lot on everything related to the requests, the prompts I gave to the model. Because instead of trying to describe or guess the best way to tell the model what image I wanted, or what group of images made up what I wanted, now that's completely solved. If you run into a problem, of course that's something you should always report to OpenArt. Go to Discord, ask questions, use the bug report system, or write to support at support@openart.ai. So choosing a model, choosing the resolution, choosing whether it has audio or not, all happens within the same context matrix. And depending on the model, we'll have more or fewer options. That's for video. For images, if I go to images, remember I can add the same elements. I can make image variations, which means making changes to an image I already have. I can select them from my desktop or choose them from my history. This chat will open up and we have uploads, creations, and favorites. For images, we're going to have a ton of models. Still, I want to point out that there are a lot of models that aren't available here yet. But like Herman said, this will keep growing and adding all the new stuff. And everything that was available before, which is still really useful for our workflow. Each model will have its own options. As always, as usual, those options are in the same place. And once we pick models that support higher resolution, we'll get higher resolution. Now, when we choose older models, for example, Z image is similar. We can have quality levels from highest to lowest. We can choose the number of megapixels it will have. And we don't have aspect ratio options in Zimage, but it's an excellent model to use. Once we pick one of the models that are related to stable diffusion, like a LoRa or Juggernaut Flux Pro, then we're dealing with a different setup. Here, we can only choose the aspect ratio. In other words, we can only pick the image format. Don't worry about what's missing. It'll be there. And keep in mind that contextual models have more options than non-contextual models. From there, we can move on to characters. Something happened with characters that's honestly incredible. Let's create a character so you can see what I mean.
The new OpenArt UI is spectacular.
We have unlimited worlds and styles now.
This changes everything for professional content creation.
I get in here, and this is the first thing that changes. Now we have this interface where we can generate, this is what I mean by fusion, because it merges what used to be the character creator with the models area. So we can make an object, a background, a style, or like I said before, a character. What I'm going to do is create a character, I'm going to move forward, and we have both options, to write it or an image. I'm going to do it with an image, but if you go here, what will happen is it'll let you choose a model, a style, and write the prompt. And there will be a cost associated with that production depending on the model. If I go to Nano Banana Pro, this is what comes up. If I go to Seedroom 4, this is what comes up. And if I go to 4.5, it's the same thing. This is an important modifier, and there are a lot of them. You create the character, it'll give you 4 options, and you'll be able to choose. I'm going to do it from here. I'm going to pick an image. We're going to do it not from the desktop, but from the asset manager. Let's say I choose one of the characters that's here. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to pick one that hasn't been created yet. This one right here. If I want more, I can add more images of the same one. I'm not going to do that. With that image, I can already give it a name. And with that name, now a description. And I hit create. Notice that the create button didn't have any cost. That's interesting. It used to have cost before. We can create as many objects as we need. This is a huge qualitative and quantitative leap forward for my company. It makes me so happy. Once I've created it, I go to the IACAS library and I can use it to make a video, an image, a talking video, or a motion sync. And if I want to edit it, which is new, I just go to the gear icon and edit it. Amazing! This was a direct request from the whole community, and from me in particular. This changes the game when working with characters. It makes the evolution of a character feel organic, and from an administrative standpoint regarding the internal resources of each project, it really deserves applause. We have audio. The important detail about audio is that now it's better segmented, and the interface control for creating different structures is much simpler. We have several top-of-the-line models. I know more will be added. The truth is, with these models, you can create high-quality voiceovers in any language. The accumulation of these assets happens in our resource gallery. What we have now are different buttons that let us view either images, videos, audios, or absolutely everything together. Or if we want, we can also view our favorites. We can filter by date. Now it's very easy to do. We can filter by what we did as part of our process. Another feature is the size, like how the images are displayed. If we want them cropped, if we want them full, and if we want to search for something specific, we can do it from the search bar. The important thing is that the whole workflow and file management structure has been streamlined in a positive way. Each section is unified within this interface. Each section has its own starting point. For example, if I go to character, it has an index. If I go back again, it has an index. And everything is on the same screen, so I don't have to move anywhere else. It's really good, and it remembers things, which is also pretty cool. If I go back to the very beginning of all this, what I'll find are the general options again. At the top is our credit. We have a link to check out the OpenAir YouTube channel, which I recommend. There's also a link to Discord, which I recommend as well. And there's a section for feedback. In this feedback section, if you have a problem or find any bugs, let them know. Don't hesitate to do it. And here you'll also find the email to contact support directly. So if you have any trouble using this new version, you can reach out through this channel. If you want to go back to the previous version from this new suite, just click here and you'll return to the legacy version. With this complete redesign, they're laying the foundation for something that's more intuitive and simpler, but still just as powerful. This was a demonstration of the OpenArtSuite interface. You can use the link in the description to create an account. Today. If you use the special promotional code found right down in the video description, Nundies, you will get a full 20% discount off of your entire purchase, which is an incredibly big and generous discount that you definitely do not want to miss out on. So use the affiliate link in the description, go to OpenArt, and create an account. It doesn't matter if it's just the basic one. Today, I recommend it if you're really going to use this for work. Wonder, because you'll have everything you need and more for complex projects. Artificial intelligence is at a turning point. Mixed media needs to understand this. As I always tell you, at Introverso Entertainment we do mixed media. That is, everything from the past, the present as it was, and this present that's launching into the future with new tools. So we have to understand and be patient with what's new. It has a lot of power. Does it create impressive things? Yes. Does it have flaws? A lot. Now, to have the backbone to overcome those mistakes and to create magnificent, wonderful things, wonder, from my perspective, is the best path you can take. And if you follow Herman's videos, the future videos I make, or the videos from the brilliant Bob, you'll see that you'll save those credits you sometimes waste by not training first. I'm a coach. I'm always going to recommend that you study, I'm always going to recommend that you train, and so I'm always going to keep insisting on these points. Studying hasn't gone anywhere. This isn't easy, it's simple. It's become simple to produce. Why? Because there's a much more powerful and potent mechanism. But like with any power, you have to be responsible when using it, and above all, really get to know things deeply. Read the documentation for each model. Read the site's documentation. Understand how each part is used. Think about how to connect them, and above all, write a script before you start working. Remember, long pre-productions mean short productions, and that means less money. I'll see you in the next video. I hope this was helpful. It's a bit longer than I wanted, but introducing such a big change wasn't going to take just a few minutes. It was bound to be a little longer. A big hug, best wishes, and may you have the most powerful creative day of your lives.
Ugh, it took forever to explain everything.
I know, but it's massive. What did you expect?
It's powerful, full of professional AI tools. Let's just go.